joining me on the telecast, and obviously interesting perspective over there. But meanwhile, we have more news coming in from Venezuela. Now, Delcy Rodriguez has been sworn in as Venezuela's interim president in a parliamentary session that began with demands for the release from U.S. custody of ousted leader Nicolás Maduro. Rodriguez, 56, vice president since 2018, said she was pained by what she called the kidnapping of Maduro and his wife Celia Flores, who was seized by U.S. forces in an overnight raid on Saturday, despite her offer to collaborate with the Trump administration. 2 hours earlier, inside a New York court room, Maduro insisted he was still the president of Venezuela, as he pleaded not guilty to 4 charges of drug trafficking and terrorism. Now, joining me on the telecast is my colleague Arzu Seth. Arzu, take us through the details that are coming in terms of when we talk about Delcy Rodriguez now being the interim president after Maduro has been captured by the U.S. forces. What does this mean? We've seen Maduro saying that he's still the president of Venezuela.
Well, definitely, Venezuela's political crisis deepens as the country's parliament on Tuesday sworn in Vice President Delcy Rodriguez as interim president, and following the dramatic arrest of the ex-president Nicolás Maduro by the president's state forces. Also, amid that, amid all these political changes, the Nicolás Maduro still says that he is the president of Venezuela, and also the move comes just days after Maduro was seized in the high-risk operation and transferred to the New York to face the trial on charges related to the narcotics trafficking, corruption, and the human rights violation. Also, Rodriguez swearing in was carried out during an emergency session of the National Assembly, with the lawmakers citing a constitutional power vacuum after the Maduro's removal. And addressing Parliament, Rodriguez pledged to ensure continuing of governance, restore stability, and defend the Venezuela's sovereignty amid the growing international scrutiny. Also, the U.S. action has triggered sharp reaction across the Latin America and beyond, with several countries condemning the arrest as a violation of the international law, while others has also welcomed it as a step towards accountability. Yes.
Arzu, stay on with me. I have more developments coming in. Now, Nicolás Maduro Guerra, son of Venezuela's deposed leader, addressed the National Assembly, pledging unconditional support to interim President Delcy Rodriguez. He said the country is in good hands and encouraged Rodriguez in the difficult task she has been assigned. Arzu, take us through the details that are coming in terms of this.
Well, definitely, there are support that is coming in as far as the new, the head of the government is concerned, and the situation. There is a political crisis that is prevailing right now, and also, Venezuela's political crisis now has deepened as country's parliament has now seen the sworn ceremony of newly interim president, and also this remains to be seen what next for the Venezuela, what next is going to happen, because still there is a gunfire sound that is being heard, the gunfire that is still happening, the loud sound of blast that is happening. So still there are situation is still alarming, and what next for the Venezuela, this is still to be seen. Yes.
Arzu, stay on with me. I have more breaking news coming in. Nicolás Maduro Guerra, son of Venezuela's deposed dictator, has condemned the U.S. capture of his father as a kidnapping and called for international solidarity to secure his return. Speaking in Venezuela's National Assembly, he described the operation as a violation of sovereignty and warned that normalizing such actions threatens global stability. Maduro Guerra also rejected charges against his family in the latest U.S. indictment, calling them persecuted. This comes just after, as the deposed president has pleaded not guilty to drug charges in the United States. Arzu, take us through the details that are coming in terms of this.
Well, yes, Maduro's son has publicly condemned the U.S. action as a kidnapping rather than the lawful arrest, and he is calling for international solidarity and support for his father and the family, framing the seizure as illegal and politically motivated. So definitely his son is now also asking the international support for his father Maduro, and through independent verification is, what we're getting to know, that his statement reflects the border efforts by Maduro's circle to, delegitimize the U.S. action and mobilize the diplomatic resistance, and especially, among the Venezuela's allies. So definitely his son is now demanding the international solidarity and support for his father, and the family framing the seizure as illegal and politically motivated. Yes.
All right, Arzu, we have more news coming in. Now, Jorge Rodriguez, head of Venezuela's National Assembly, has vowed to focus on efforts to bring back Nicolás Maduro, who is now imprisoned in the U.S. pending trial. Speaking to lawmakers, Rodriguez said his main function in the coming days will be to explore all procedures, platforms and avenues to secure the return of Maduro, whom he called his brother and his president. Arzu, take us through the details that are coming in terms of the statement. Arzu, what exactly is the statement that was given by, when we're talking about the head of Venezuela's National Assembly? All right, we have more breaking news coming in. Now, close to 200 U.S. military personnel entered the Venezuelan capital Caracas as part of a high-profile operation aimed at abducting President Nicolás Maduro. U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth said that nearly 200 of America's finest troops went downtown in Caracas and successfully captured an indicted individual wanted by American justice, all in support of law enforcement and without a single American casualty. The operation also involved more than 150 military aircraft performing various roles, including striking Venezuelan defenses. This marks the first time a U.S. official has disclosed the number of forces involved in the helicopter operation targeting Maduro. Right, so important and pertinent details that were coming in. Now, more news coming in. The Indian National Congress expressed grave concern at the unilateral actions taken by the United States of America in Venezuela over the past 48 hours, which transgress the settled principles of international law as enshrined in the United Nations Charter and numerous international treaties. A statement by the party reads, "Respect for national sovereignty and peaceful coexistence have formed the bedrock of the post-World War II rules-based world order. Any kinetic action that circumscribe these without the express sanction of the United Nations risk the resurgence of primordial rules of the statecraft and undermine global stability. The Indian National Congress urges that the will of the Venezuelan people will be given utmost priority and that Venezuelan resources are utilized for the betterment of the Venezuelan people as guaranteed by the principles of permanent sovereignty over natural resources." Now joining me on the telecast is my colleague Anand Singh. Anand, take us through the details that are coming in terms of the statement that has been given by Congress in terms of Venezuela.
Yeah, look, the way in which Congress Foreign Department Chairperson Man Khurshid is also one of the former External Affairs Minister. He has issued a very strong statement expressing that how the actions of the United States in Venezuela over the last 2 days, which transgress the settled principles of international law as enshrined in the United Nations Charter and numerous international treaties. So he clearly expressed deep concern the way in which things have unfolded in Venezuela with U.S. military targeting to bring the president and his wife from there. So clearly he mentioned that how the respect for national sovereignty and peaceful coexistence have formed the bedrock of the post-World War II rule-based world order, and any kinetic action that circumscribes these without the express sanction of the U.S. risks the resurgence of primordial rules of the statecraft and undermine global stability. So he clearly said that the Congress party urges that the will of the Venezuelan people be given utmost priority and that Venezuelan resources are utilized for the betterment of the Venezuelan people as guaranteed by the principles of permanent sovereignty over natural resources. So clearly, the Congress party has made a strong statement and it has urged the world to look at the interest of the Venezuelan people, the way in which its president and his wife has been captured by US in a military operation just 2 days back. Back to you, Ria.
All right, Anand and Arzu, thank you so much for joining me on the telecast and sharing those inputs. But for now, that's a wrap for the bulletin. We'll slip into a short break.
अदरक की हुई कुटाई, चाय की पतीली